47, which was the second test played by... Oh, that's the... Have I got that right? Where are we? I've lost my page.
1947, there you go.
1947, right, yes.
So Todd Murphy's been given the ball after 1 over of Mitchell Starc, so Asita Fernando can breathe easy. Jeffrey Van Der Sey was enjoying himself.
So I got that slightly wrong. That was the first of those was the England game at Brisbane in 1946, and 12 months later at the same venue they went huge again in the early days of the Gabba. Todd Murphy, can he finish it off? Mitchell Starc only gets one go.
He's got a wicket to show for it so far in this innings.
Van Der Sey facing on 42. Murphy to him. Reverse sweep, shout for league before, not a convincing one. Did miss the ball, that's for sure.
It was a good wicket as well of the veteran Karunaratne, getting him to shoulder arms. Not getting him to shoulder arms, but going through his defences after he shouldered arms.
England are holding on at the G as well, Bryce. Murphy bowls here. Not quite full enough to bother Van Der Sey, who goes back and defends. So they've, for the final wicket, they've been there for 10.2 overs for 7 runs. Lauren Filer, 7, and Bell, 30 balls for naught. So both Australian teams trying to finish it before the end of the session.
Just 6 overs here.
Murphy delivers here, goes back. Van Der Sey pushes out to cover. He's 43, 9 for 237. Feels like a while.
Surely this has to be the over, you'd think. Todd Murphy to Asita Fernando. I don't think he can hold it back. He's going to try the slog sweep into the wind, and Mitchell Starc is poised just for that cow corner fence. Be surprised if he doesn't hole out straight to him.
So Todd Murphy 5 in, catching, 1 back as well for the slog sweep. Bowls to Asita, stays at home defending to Silly Point. That's the wider one. Will he give you something to swing at? That's the question.
It's one of those classic late partnerships in a big loss, right? You start talking about, oh, why didn't the top order show the same kind of resistance?
Murphy away from us at the city end. To Asita, middle stump line, and he turns it into Travis Heddes. Short leg, who's been a busy boy today.
That's more often than number 10 and 11 as they walk off the ground, and as they're reviewing the game, why didn't you bat? It's not that hard out there. Should have just knuckled down.
Todd Murphy, change of angle, round the wicket. Into Asita Fernando, bowls here. Asita stays at home, plays with the outside part of the bat. Down to Bo Webster at second slip, and completes the over. They still trail by 252 at 9 for 237. Asita 6, Van Der Sey 43. We're 15 minutes into an already extended session, so we've been going for
ever
in this session. Well said.
And looks like Nathan Lyon won't get a chance to get his 5th wicket because Kuhneman's coming in. He got his 9th wicket.
I would have given Lyon the chance to finish off, I think.
Well, that many overs, but yeah, Steve Smith, like he's done throughout this test match across both innings, given his spinner shorter spells than what you would expect in the subcontinent.
Yep.
The 3 that he has, well.
So they'll get 15 more minutes here, then tea will come. That's worth noting too. Make that 13 and a half minutes till tea will need to be taken belatedly. So Kuhneman, new spell. He's got 3 wickets in the innings. Delivers here. Van Der Sey straight over, long off again. Out to the fort, up and under. Gets himself another boundary. 47 for Jeffrey Van Der Sey. Get yourself a 50. 9 for 241. And I'm hearing down the line that it is over at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Australia's women have wrapped it up. All out for 148. And Alana King got it, got the fifer. Goes again over the top, same direction, inside out. That's a boundary, that's a 6. What a way to move to his half century. He's been such an impressive contributor, Jeffrey Van Der Sey. Maybe the only Sri Lankan who hasn't lowered his colours. 53 not out from 46, coming in when all was lost. Picked up 3 wickets with the ball, but never threw in the towel. 9 for 247. We like him.
We love him. We deserve to get there with the 6. What a great shot.
Kuhnemann bowls Van der Sey again, but this one out to backward point, off the edge and taken. Game over. Van der Sey, half century, 1 ball, caught by Mitchell Starc at backward point the next. Australia victorious by a massive innings of 242. Their biggest test victory in Asia, their 4th biggest victory ever, Sri Lanka's biggest loss ever. It's been utterly comprehensive. Sri Lanka bowled out for 247 following on. That margin again, an innings and 242 runs, Bryce McGain.
Well, in the end, it was comprehensive. A little resilience from our good friend Jeffrey Van der Sey. But 3 in a row was not possible. Slower, wider, outside the eye line. He went to launch it down the ground, succeeded to hit it straight up a chimney in the safest of hands. Mitch Starc, he never drops those. And it is done. Comprehensive by Australia. Really, when it all boils down to it, they've outplayed from the very, very start. When Travis Head and Usman Khawaja walked out there with the bat, they've been well planned. It was proactive batting, an enormous first innings total of 654, and then, well, they've done it back-to-back and rolled over Sri Lanka for 165 and 247. It's been really comprehensive and impressive from an Australian perspective.
A quick comment from Bharat before he goes downstairs.
Yeah, just a perfect test for Australia. They prepared well in Dubai. They came here, picked the right players, picked Josh Inglis, gave him his debut. And Khawaja dominating against spin, 232. Then Josh Inglis, 100. Steve Smith, 10,000 runs. And another 100 for him. They couldn't have done it any better. There was rain. They only got 27 overs yesterday. But then they made sure that they finished the game off before there's any issue with the weather. Full credit to Matthew Kuhnemann as well. A return to Test cricket with 9 Test wickets.
Bharat will send you downstairs to do your thing. Bryce will stay with us. We'll bring Tom Morris in as well. Quick call of the card as the teams shake hands beneath us here in front of the pavilion. Sri Lanka were all out 165 in their first innings. Not long into today's play after losing 5 for 9. Australia immediately enforced the follow-on. They picked up a shot off Fernando by the bowling of Mitchell Starc in the 3rd over of that follow-on. Leg before wicket for 6. Dimith Karunaratne was bowled for a duck by Todd Murphy. Just 1 over on from that. It was 2 for 6. A useful partnership. Dinesh Chandimal and Angelo Matthews took them to 75, but on the stroke of lunch, Chandimal was caught at short leg by Head from the bowling of Lyon. Another useful partnership after lunch where Kamindu Mendez started really well, but in much the same way with Chandimal falling for 31, Kamindu Mendez fell for 32, where he was done in flight by Matt Kuhnemann, who's had a very nice day, having taken 9 wickets for the match. Angelo Matthews, the former captain, was caught at short leg from the bowling of Lyon for 41, having made a contribution but couldn't go on with it. Another partnership that passed 50 with Dananjaya De Silva and Kusal Mendez that before the captain was caught by Bo Webster, slicing out to point again from the bowling of Kuhnemann for 34. At that point, they were 6 for 179, which became 7 for 187 shortly thereafter when Kusal Mendez was stumped by Carey, his 4th stumping of the match from the bowling of Lyon for 34. Prabhav Jayasuriya came and went, bowled first ball by Lyon. Well, not his first ball, but the first ball that Lyon sent down to him after picking up the wicket for 1. And then Nishan Peiris was out, 17 runs on from that. Peiris was bowled by Kuhnemann for a duck. And after a sprightly final wicket stand, it took them from 209 to 247. Jeffrey Van der Sey, the ball after reaching 50, skied one to Mitchell Starc at backward point from the bowling of Kuhnemann for 53. The not-out man was Asitha Fernando, who made 6 from 18 balls for Australia. Nathan Lyon, 19 overs, 4 maidens, 4 for 78. Matt Kuhnemann, 17.3 overs, 2 maidens, 4 for 86 to go with his 5 for 68 in the first innings. Mitchell Starc, 5 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 14. Todd Murphy, 11 overs, 1 for 57. And Travis Head bowled 2 overs of off spin as well, none for 8, as I welcome Tom Morris back into our commentary position as he continues the conversation with Bryce McGain and myself. We're not that far away from the presentation, but normally they'll go to a television advertisement first. Tom, what you made of the last passage of play as we start to think about player of the match and so on.
Has to be Usman Khawaja, doesn't it? Well done, Colo. Excellent call as always. Matt Koeman with 9 wickets would have some sort of case. Steve Smith with a test century as well, but we fully expect it to be the double century, and we'll find out in a few moments' time as the officials downstairs get everything together, the security guards and a few media as well, certainly photographers and the host broadcaster too, as we await what comes next, which is ordinarily the presentation. I'm intrigued, Bryce, to see what the Sri Lankan captain De Silva says about this performance publicly. Surely behind closed doors, not only will they be fairly humiliated and embarrassed, but they'll need to do some soul searching and see if they can replicate what happened in 2022 when they were embarrassed in the first test and came back and won by an innings in the second test.
Yeah, quite remarkable turnaround that. So it goes to show it's possible, but I think Australia couldn't be better prepared. What we've seen in every aspect throughout the entire game, their batting plans as individuals, the way they built partnerships with the bat to put up that mammoth first innings total, keep the Sri Lankan team out in the field for so long, and then just go and deliver with the ball. Every single bowler was just spot on and well orchestrated beautifully by Steve Smith. Like, it really was comprehensive in every facet.
And Tommy, those 2 test matches in the end finishing within about a minute of each other.
Amazing. Simultaneously, pretty much.
Yes.
Well, if there is such a thing as pretty much simultaneous, it was as close as you can get. Alana King, 5 from the second innings.
Yeah, an innings of 122 over at the G. 5 for 53 for Alana King. 4 for 39 for Ashley Gardner. England humbled there, and they lose the series 16-0. And over here, an innings of 242. There wouldn't have been many times in the history of Australian Test cricket where both sides have won so comprehensively on the same day, with Sri Lanka all out 165 and 247. So a huge day for Australian cricket in many respects.
Especially when you have one player like Mitchell Starc playing here and his wife, Elisa Healy, playing in Melbourne. So there's lots of similarities and connections across the two. They both played 287 international games as well. And then Australia A won by an innings as well in the last 24 hours. So it's a good 24 to 48 hours for Australian cricket. We'll talk more about the Women's Ashes a little bit later on, but this Australian performance has been everything they wanted it to be. They made big runs at the top. There was no doubt they were going to enforce the follow-on once the wickets fell this morning. Even Mitchell Starc, in conditions which clearly didn't favour Asitha Fernando, bowled really well and took a couple of wickets, especially early wickets, at a time when spin was the name of the game, Bryce.
Yeah, and it just goes to show airspeed is so important. Over 140, being able to move a new ball, you know, picking up that LBW very early in the third over. Well, I was going to say this morning, it really wasn't that. It was at the beginning of this innings, Fernando getting wrapped on the pad, and the spinners wheeled away, and it was a real comprehensive team-orientated view, and that's the way they wanted to start. The pre-game meeting out in the middle was with the bowlers, the wicket-keeper, the captain, and Dan Vettori just said how important it is to bowl in partnerships and support each other, not just by noise and clapping your hands and saying, come on, fellas. It was just about setting up particular players, making sure that you're closing out overs, all the little basic things that they wanted to do, and they were certainly able to do that.
Australia took 15 for 276 today. They made a relatively bright start, Sri Lanka, until the wicket started to tumble. They lost 5 for 9 to finish their first innings and then all out for 247. So the run rate was okay, but part of that was the fact that the Australians set such attacking field. Steve Smith, well, you could say he's tailor-made for all conditions, but he is especially tailor-made for these conditions, not just as a batter, but also as a captain. He just moves the pieces around. He seems to understand the nuances and the flow of the game and the intricacies of playing in these conditions. And time and time again, the Sri Lankan batter would hit the ball in the air and you'd think, well, that's going for 4 or 6, and there happened to be a fielder underneath it, which just tells you how much not only Smith understands the game, but the bowlers are in tune with their captain as well.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. He anticipates where the mishit is going to go, and that was exposed. Kusal Mendes, the right-hander, went to sweep Kuhnemann, and it was allowed to and over before, but they had this field placing, which is quite remarkable, a mid-square leg, if you like, halfway between the boundary and where a normal square leg will be, and the mishit was going to go there, and so he predicted that, anticipated that, and that just proved the fact that they were bowling and executing and anticipating where those wickets were going to fall, and Well, it was a masterful dismissal, that one, and it just opened up the door in that first innings, and they collapsed, and once again they followed on and collapsed in the second innings as well.
It's as complete away performance that Australia has put together in a very long time. I know they won by an innings in a game in India in 2023.
Yep, indoor.
In indoor.
Well, they won that by 7 wickets, yeah.
So 7 wickets, that's right. But it's very rare that Australia goes away from home and wins in this manner. Everything worked in their favour. A bit of luck as well, some drop chances. The toss went their way, but they made big runs. They took important wickets. They fielded better. Unequivocally, the best team. It looked like a fantastic international team playing against a club 11 in many ways. The way the Sri Lankan batters struggled to put together innings aside from Chandamal, and the way their bowlers bowled was actually reasonable in the first innings, it must be said. And you said that, Bryce, by and large, but they just lacked pressure. And then if you compare the way Smith captained, being proactive, moving the field around, testing the batters, to the way De Silva captained for Sri Lanka, well, that was poles apart. That was chalk and cheese.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, the way you've described it there around the experience of the Australian team under Steve Smith, he's got a great record as captain, both batting as captain, but also the win-loss ratio since he has come back as the acting captain, when he's occasionally deputised for Patrick Cummins since 2021. Smith's never lost a test. He's had a draw at Ahmedabad, but there was the win at Indoor, there's a couple of wins at Adelaide, and another win here at Gaul. So whenever Steve Smith needs to wear the captain's armband, they don't lose anything. And I mean, of course, it was a chastening way in which he lost the captaincy all those years ago, but he was a very different person then, and so much has happened to him as a human being and as a cricketer since 2018 that these days he's far more calm than he was when he was the full-time captain, Tom.
Yeah, the Australian captaincy means so much, Colo. That's clear, and you're never going to have a situation where you have a horses for courses approach with the leadership. If Pat Cummins is the test captain, he's the test captain.
Sure.
But if you were going to have that sort of approach in the subcontinent, there would be a strong argument that Steve Smith should be captaining out on the field instead of Pat Cummins, especially given Pat Cummins' bowling loads in these conditions, just because Smith seems to relish these conditions so much.
He does. I suppose
And that's not a criticism of Cummins in any way.
No, I suppose it's just worked out this way this time quite neatly, right? The last two times they played in Asia, Smith oversaw it, and they were tragic circumstances for the Cummins family when he had to come home for the passing of his mum. And this time around, it just turns out that Pat's wife Becky's due to have their second child very soon. So it's just one of those quirky things where 4 consecutive tests in Asia will be overseen by Smith. But make no mistake, when Cummins led Australia in Pakistan in 2022, he was immense with ball and tactically.
Yeah.
So they don't lose either way. It's a blessed situation that either of these two men can do a terrific job at any time they need to.
I'm with you completely there. The other thing as well is I wonder how much the Australian selectors and the rest of the staff learnt about key players that will be on the plane to India in 2 years' time. We asked Steve Smith in the media conference the day before the test match how much of an eye does he have on that India series, and he was very honest. He didn't say, no, we're just looking ahead to this Sri Lanka series. He said, yeah, of course, looking ahead. That this is in many respects an early training run, or maybe an early dress rehearsal for that super important Border Gavaskar Trophy, which is 5 tests this time in 2 years' time, and that 2 years will come around very quickly.
By Australia, inflicting the heaviest defeat on Sri Lanka by innings and 242 runs. A very big congratulations to Australia and, of course, to the team, Steve Smith and the team, for this outstanding win in this first test of the Servo Cup, powered by Maggie Papare Blast. Let me first thank our sponsors. We thank Servo, Maggie Papare Blast. We got Munchie, we got Abic Premier, we got Mentos, we got Haley Solar, we also got Nippon Paints, Maliban Kiri, Uswata Cherry Chips, Honor, and ITW. I'm privileged to introduce to you our presentation party. We got Mr. Arnold De Silva, Head of Admin from Sri Lanka Cricket. We got Mr. Prashant Rawat, Senior Vice President of Lubes Marketing and Production Servo. And we also have Mr. Heshan Katriarachi, DGM Engineering Sales, Haley Solar. So our first award is for the Servo Player of the Match. He will receive a check of US $2,000 from Mr. Prashant Rawat, Senior Vice President, and also a trophy. There were quite a few good performances, both batting and in bowling, but the verdict as far as the adjudicators were concerned, it goes to Usman Khawaja for his double 100. He will also receive an energy net solar generator from Haley Solar, Sri Lanka's #1, the largest and most trusted solar provider, from Mr. Heshan Katriarachi, DGM Engineering Sales, Haley Solar. Outstanding knock from Usman Khawaja, the ITW player of the match. His first ever double 100. You got quite a few awards, Usman. You're also having energy net solar generator. You can certainly do with that in Sri Lanka with the sun. Congratulations, that was a magnificent knock.
Yeah, thank you. Alhamdulillah, praise be to God. I'm very grateful that I get to play cricket for Australia, and it's just very nice to score some runs and contribute to a winning team. Gaule's always a tough place to play for us, so it's nice to get a good start.
Yeah, it's been an amazing little period for you, for where you were about a month ago and where you are today, on top of the world with the runs you scored, as you said, in challenging conditions.
Yeah, everyone says that. To be honest, a month ago I was on top of the world too. We won 3-1. Cricket is a team game, and you want to score it all the time, but it's not always possible. So hopefully when you don't score, someone else does, and when someone else doesn't score, you score. That's the point of being a great team. So, I mean, I was really happy that 3-1 against India was tough work. We were all very tired, but to come here and start the series off, we're very happy.
Yeah, let's talk about the way you played the spin. You were looking to play it off the back foot all the time. Was that the plan when you came here?
Not necessarily. I've got my own plans to spin. I'm 38 years old now, so this is my 5th trip to Sri Lanka. I've played in Sri Lanka a lot, so I think I've made all the mistakes that I know that I can make, and then I know that there's certain ways I'm happy to get out and certain ways I'm not, and I just work around that. So for me, that's the most important thing.
I think you've almost compensated for all the mistakes you made. Very well played, and congratulations. It was an absolutely magnificent knock.
Thank you very much.
Right, that is our player of the match, ITW player of the match, Usman Khawaja. And let me now talk to Dhananjay De Silva, the Sri Lankan captain. It's not easy to talk to the winning or at least the losing captain after a game and goal. But first tell me, how important is the toss at goal?
Well, yeah, it's very important. As you can see the result, chasing 600 plus runs is not easy in these conditions.
I was going to ask you about the opportunities you had, but before that, looking at the way Jeffrey Van der Sar batted, do you think your batters should have put up a better show?
Well, yeah, wicket was not that hard, but his odd ball was turning. But yeah, Jeffrey batted well, but other batters have to put their hands up and get the big runs and have to put the opposition under pressure.
Obviously, you guys had your chances. You had opportunities with catchers, then also those reviews not taken. That I'm stating the obvious, but it's hurting you a lot.
Yes, of course, losing is hurting always. But, yeah, we had our chances as far as you said, reviews and even 4 catches dropped. I think, yeah, we got our chances, but never taken.
Yeah, but you got something to look back to. Even the last time Sri Lanka lost a game and came back very strongly. That should be an inspiration for you guys.
Yes, of course, but, we have to put our bodies in the line and play well, beat this champion side, They are in the World Cup final. They proved that they are the best team, and we have to get our A team, a game into this final game and have to win it.
Bad luck today. All the best for the next game.
Thank you very much.
Right, the Sri Lankan captain, that is Dhananjay De Silva. And let me now invite the winning captain to come forward and sign, I think, yes, he will sign the match ball for the Munchie fan of the match. And he will receive a check of US 5,000 from Mr. Aruna De Silva, Steve Smith. That's the winner's check for winning comprehensively, beating Sri Lanka by innings. Stephen, congratulations. That truly is a magnificent win. It's an amazing performance from you guys, particularly the last time you played 3 spinners was way back in 2022. So everything that you planned have come right here.
Yeah, it worked out well. Thought we started the test match beautifully. Usman and Travis up top really set the tone, and Usman's innings was outstanding to get his first double 100. The way he went about it, the shots he played, and the pressure he put on the bowlers was outstanding. And throughout that innings, obviously, we had plenty of good partnerships, and to get 650 allowed us an option to bowl twice. And yeah, I thought Starkey did a tremendous job with the new ball, and the spinners did a great job throughout as well.
Yeah, almost clockwork for you guys. Your bowlers were not really pushed too much. Didn't really see too many of them bowling long spells. Well, I think you maneuvered the spinners quite well. How did you see the surface when you batted first and the way it deteriorated?
Yeah, I think it broke up as it went on. I think that first day probably didn't quite reflect the score, perhaps. It was a little bit tacky and it was still taking some spin. I thought we batted exceptionally well and gave us a chance to press the game and get to a position where we wanted to. So, yeah, I thought the bowlers bowled really well in tandem. The beauty of having 3 frontline spinners is we could just rotate and sort of keep guys as fresh as possible. And whenever they looked like they were getting a little bit tired, I sort of just gave them a rest and said, next guy, come in, and they all did a wonderful job.
Will this be the strategy going forward in the subcontinent for you guys? 3 spinners, 1 fast bowler, or is it just for goal?
Unsure. I mean, we've got to look at the surface. Every surface you play on is different, and we've got wonderful fast bowlers in there that I'm sure would have done a really good job as well. But on this occasion, 3 spinners, they all worked out together really nicely, and it was a great win.
On a personal note, it's brilliant for you. Besides the win, 10,000 runs and 100. How do you reflect back on your career?
Oh, thank you. Look, I never thought I'd score this many runs. To just play 1 test for Australia was a dream growing up, and to have played over 100 now and score 10,000 runs, it's a dream come true. And it was nice to contribute in this game with 100 as well.
Congratulations, very well done, and thank you for the entertainment.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Right, that is the winning captain, Steve Smith, and that concludes our post-match presentation.
All right, Steve Smith, thank you for the music. As he said there, personal milestones that he was able to celebrate at the start of the Test match, the 10,000th run. Feels like a long time ago, Bryce. And then sorry, I've turned you down, haven't I? We'll try that again.
Yeah, that was special, wasn't it? What a moment.
Yeah.
First ball, but it showed the purpose and intent. I want to get that out the way, and now I've got business to get on with. And Australia showed that all the way through, that proactivity, particularly with the batting hand. That was so impressive. And Steve Smith, he just spoke humbly about, they built partnerships. But as much as Usman Khawaja, his 232 was outstanding, it's the partnership they put on of 276 that just took the game away. Yeah, there was chances and those things, but I guess the ability to make the opposition pay if they do make mistakes is critical, and that's what they were able to do on that first day.
First question to the Sri Lankan captain. How hard is it to play when you lose a toss like that? So the toss was critical, but that's not the reason they lost. The Sri Lankans lost because they played inferior cricket for the best part of 4 days. I'm just fascinated to see what, if any, team changes they make, Colo.
Yeah.
They've got a couple of reserve keepers in the squad. They've got Chandamal, who keeps as well, who plays. They're hoping clearly that Nasanka is fit and can open the batting. What changes do they make to the bowling with Pyrrhus, the off-spinner? He was highly ineffective, it must be said, across the Australian batting innings. And so these are the decisions and the calls they'll have to make over the next 3 days before the next test.
I think Milan Ratnyaka will come in.
Okay.
That'll be the one that I was slightly surprised he didn't play, actually, because he does give them something down the list.
With the bat?
With the bat.
And also...
he'll be their sole seamer.
Yeah.
There's something with the bat. And also, they have Pathum Nasanka, who's fit, who will definitely play. He's been there...
So he's fit now?
Well, I'm told he'll play next week.
Okay.
So he's been their standard bearer up the top of the list for a couple of years now. So I'm a little bit worried about Dimith Karunaratne. He's coming into his 100th Test match next week, and he's gone.
He's limping towards the finish line.
He's gone. So he'll retire next week, I think, as well. No one likes to see a champion get to a milestone and not be able to still do the thing that made them a champion in the first place. I'm not for a heartbeat saying he won't play. Of course he'll play. But it'll take a fair bit for him to make a contribution, is my fear, Bryce.
Yeah, he looks done.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you don't like to say that, but in more ways and defeated. He didn't have that purpose and sharp feet that you want your openers to have, even if they're dismissed. You want to see them there. He was guessing at a ball that pitched around off stump in that second innings, and he just let it go and hit his stumps. It was it's disappointing. It's a cluttered mind. Yeah. That's what that is.
The other thing, if you speak to the Sri Lankan journos downstairs, Colo, is they think that there's a chance it's Angelo Matthews' last Test match as well.
I think it
at
is.
37.
Yeah, I reckon Ange's finishing next week as well.
So they're both sort of limping to the finish line. They're really relying on too few. It's a shame we didn't see the best of Mendes at 5, but he showed us enough to suggest that he could take the game away from Australia very quickly if he bats for any length of time. And I thought Kulsul Mendes' keeping was really good as well. It's statistically the heaviest loss in their history, and visually, anecdotally, it looked just like an absolute smashing from start to finish. And they'll celebrate Karunaratne's 100th Test as they should, but there's a real question mark whether, if it was his 50th Test, whether he'd be playing or not at all.
And the Australians will be celebrating beneath us tonight, then over across the road in the fort as well, I have no doubt. Tommy, Bryce, terrific. Been great fun sharing this first week in Gaul with you both and the rest of the team, who we will properly thank in the fullness of time when we finish up the second test next week. But, yeah, we're set to wrap up our coverage. So we will. New balls back tomorrow.
Yeah, we're on.
At 2 o'clock Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Early start, Tommy. New ball tomorrow morning.
So Bharat is going to come to where I'm living here in a villa.
Okay.
And we're going to do the new ball from the couch, because that's where the Wi-Fi is.
Better.
And it'll be the same new ball anyway. We'll unpack this all tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to that.
So you'll dissect everything, and then we'll look ahead to the second test match. It starts on just Thursday, right? Not long at all. In Melbourne, by the way, the player of the match is Annabelle Sutherland, and the player of the series, Alana King. Australia's women winning the Women's Ashes comprehensively, 16-0. They won by an innings and 122. Over here, it was an emphatic win by an innings and 242 runs as Australia retained the Warne Muralitterant Trophy. Thank you to everybody back in Melbourne who have made it possible during the week. It's never easy away from home to put these productions on. There's a team that's led by Mitch Scott. It's an outstanding one at that. So we always thank them for everything they do to make it possible. They'll be back with us as well next week when we start our coverage on Thursday. Everybody who's got in touch on the social media channels or on the text line, we're grateful for all of that correspondence.
Including Bryce's idea for a TikTok to jump into Gaul, which has gone viral.
Don't drag me down like that.
Pleased to hear it's going well. You guys look after the TikTok. I'll just deal with the other stuff.
You do the commentary.
And on Instagram and Twitter and all the other places you can find us. Pato, who's with us as well, doing all of those clips. It's all great having a team with us here. We're united from Melbourne to Gaul and beyond. And we'll leave it there. This has been Australia's fourth biggest win in Test history, their biggest in Asia, Sri Lanka's biggest defeat, utterly comprehensive. Australia victorious here at Gaul by 242 runs. Thank you so much for listening. We'll do it all again in a few days' time. Bye-bye. Kuhnemann, short leg, 2 slip bowls. Here's sweep.
There it is.
Catches the
There
call
it
to
is.
square leg. Tom
There it is.
Murphy. Cusel Mendes falls into the trap.
It's his batting assets out.
Line bowls. Charlie Bar misses the reverse line.
Got him.
Given. And a silly point. Kuhnemann bowls and he stumps. Jayasuriya running past it. Carey doing the rest. Kuhnemann's got 4. He's up here bowling. Catches the call. Got him a short leg. Lyon gets 2 in 2 overs. Kuhnemann bowls. Swinging high in the air. Catches the call. Stark is under it at cover and he's taken it. Matt Kuhnemann finishes the job. A second 5-wicket bag in Test cricket.
He's facing Stark. There's 2 in a gully in place. Stark bowls. Fernando's hit on the pad. There's a big appeal. They continue and he's out. The finger goes up. Got some momentum to the crease. And he bowls him. Karunaratne and let it go. How embarrassing for the left-hander. And Murphy has his first for the match.
Chandimal's facing him here. Catches everywhere behind the wicket. Beautiful off drive. Chandimal's shot of the day. Didn't need to overhit it. Got to the pitch.
With 2 for 7 line bowls. That's pitched up. It's hit the pad again as it got bat. Head takes the catch. There's an appeal from Smith and Carey behind the stumps. Smith will go to DRS. That's out. That's got the bottom hand on the way back up. A fantastic review from Steve Smith.
Kuhnemann bowls and sweeping conventionally is Kamindu. He has smoked that all the way for 6.
Kuhnemann left arm around the wicket again to Mendes. Down the wicket and over his head. Fantastic shot. We're getting an insight into what this talented player can do.
Counteract.
Goes again and over long on this time. It's high in the air. Has he got enough on it?
No.
Out. And it is. Mitchell Stark takes the catch at wide mid-wicket. Line bowls. It's a reverse from Matthews. The callers catch it. Travis Head at short leg. It's given out.
Oh, wow.
And it looks like Angelo Matthews knows it. He hits the turf with his bat.
65 for partnership. Catches the call. Out to point just as you called Simon Katich. The very next ball. Keep him on strike. Brazil faces Lyon. Oh, he's taken the bails off Carey. Lyon gets him stumped. He tried to shimmy forward. Got in an awful tangle. I wonder what he'll do. He's got a deep square as well if he wants to go hook it that way. He bowls him.
Oh, goodness. Mate.
Straight through. Nathan Lyons on a hat-trick. And Alana King got it. Got the fifer. Goes again over the top. Same direction. Inside out. That's a boundary. That's a 6. What a way to move to his half-century. He's been such an impressive contributor, Jeffrey Van der Say. Kuhnemann bowls Van der Say again. But this one, out to backward point, off the edge and taken. Game over. Australia victorious by a massive innings of 242.
Follow SEN Cricket on Instagram, X and TikTok for all the behind-the-scenes action from Sri Lanka. Live from Galle, this is the first test between Sri Lanka and Australia on SEN Test Cricket.
Did you know that coal helps make the cement and steel to build our cricket clubhouses? You'd be surprised the way the